on the lawn. And your hand-me-down car feels so far away.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deyaniracavazos and I'm an LPC-associate from the state of Texas. I also own my own private practice called Mental Health Services, and I share all of that with you all here on my channel. So today is Tuesday, which is the real day that I feel like my work week fully begins, because it's when I start seeing therapy clients. Mondays are days that I work on case notes and that I take to just rest and practice self-care. And so this specific week I ended up celebrating my birthday. So I am officially 29 years old. My official birthday was yesterday, so on September 13th. So I had a really great day. I ended up gifting myself a solo date day, so I went out and I went book shopping. But currently right now my house is a mess, y'all, and because I work from home, I especially like having my space feel clean so that I can function and just feel good. And I mean, it happens, so I'm definitely not the type of person to make myself feel bad, you know, because there's mess. It's just a normal part of the human experience. Mess will be created when we're living and existing. And today I was scheduled to have 3 clients and 2 consultation calls for potential clients, and then I already met with one of my established clients, and I have 2 more clients that I'm seeing tonight that I'm really looking forward to meeting and checking in on. So for right now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is put a movie in the background and get to just cleaning my space, because I have my next client at 5:30 and it's currently 4:10. So I'm gonna go ahead and just clean my space. It's gonna make me feel good, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of this video because we're gonna have a nice Q&A. You all have submitted questions to me and things that you would like me to talk about, so we're gonna go ahead and get into that and all of the really interesting topics.
Maybe I'm overreacting to this whole thing, being too dramatic, overthinking, getting myself worked up over nothing. But baby, you said it's over, but cry on my shoulder and make matter, but I'm still thinking of you on the car ride home, staring at my phone, still invested, but I know you said we fell in love, boy, that's just how it goes. It's hard to move on.
I'm going to take some time to rest and decompress for a bit and read this book. I've been reading this book for fun and it is so good. Like, if you're looking for a book to get you into spooky season and you enjoy reading for fun or want to try it, and in my personal life, that's something that I've been working on, is trying to reconnect with my love for reading and reading for fun. And that's a journey that I've been on post-grad, and taking time to reflect and look back. I'm at the point now where I'm reading a lot faster and I'm reading a lot longer versus when I first started, you know, trying to read again for fun. I could only read like a couple passages, like not even a full chapter. I would read for a little bit, then I would get tired and I would put it away. So I took little tiny steps in the direction and in the habits that I wanted to create for myself. And that has also been part of my journey post-grad, is reconnecting with a lot of who I am, because it's not something that we really talk about a lot when we're in grad school, that we're not just therapists, we're not just counselors. That's what we do, but that's not who we are, right? And so that's been a lot of the rediscovering for me, is tapping into who I am, and definitely having that separation between what I do for a living and who I am as a person and what I love and enjoy. And so I personally love my weekends, and I decided to keep those for me and not work on those days, because it is also the time when my husband has off. And I know some of you have reached out to me and have thanked me for showing that aspect and for talking about it too, because it's made you feel hopeful that you're able to have a more balanced life, whatever balanced means to you, right? Having a more balanced life when it comes to this career field. So I'm so happy to show you all that and to share it. Thank you so much for being here and for being a part of that journey too.
But baby, you said it's over, but cry on my shoulder. Enigmatic, but I'm still thinking of you on the car ride home, staring at my phone, still invested, but I know you said we fell in love, boy, that's just how it goes. It's hard to move on when you want my clothes. Picture you, baby, with somebody else. It's killing me softly, I can't help myself. Maybe I just need somebody else tonight. Girl, I know I shouldn't even care.
Hi everyone, so it is the next day. It's time to go ahead and sit down and have our chat. I'm going to be answering all of your questions that you've been asking me lately about how I get clients, my thoughts on making passive income as a therapist within your own private practice, and then also all about marketing myself and what my strategy has been. So one of the first questions that I frequently get asked is, how do I get clients, right? So I ended up launching my private practice 6 months ago at the end of March of this year. So when I first started and launched my practice, I did have a small number of clients. I would get about 1 new client a month and inquiries. And I did have Psychology Today, so I was trying to figure out, why am I not getting clients in my city? And so something that I was very much afraid of was niching down too much. I had watched a lot of videos and read a lot of articles about niching in private practice, and it really scared me, to be honest, because I thought, I'm already not seeing like a huge amount of wave of clients wanting to work with me. What if I niche down and then I have no one, right? And I've missed out on other clients. So there were all of these fears. And so something that was really helpful for me when I launched was consulting with another therapist. And for me, it wasn't until about 4.5 months into opening and launching my private practice that I decided to niche down fully, because I looked at the clients that I was already bringing in and that I was enjoying working with. And I decided, you know what, I want to curate and create and dedicate content to this population that I love working with and that I have had experience working with. But there is that part of me, like that little voice in my head that comes from grad school or from other clinicians' opinions, or I only create content dedicated for Latina women. What if, no one wants to work with me? All of these things that I've heard, and at one point it scared the hell out of me, you guys. Again, I'm being 100% honest. I'm not going to listen to that inner critic, and I'm going to give myself and what I truly want to do a shot here, because I already gave, what I was doing a shot for about 3-4 months, and it was okay. But I need to try and see if it can be better, and so these first couple of months for me have been a lot of just trial and error when it comes to marketing myself. And so what really sparked me wanting to niche down was that I ended up going to a community event that I was invited to, and I had to create a brochure for that event. And if you guys want to see that video, it's up on my channel. But when I saw the flyer that I created, that just came from my innermost trust for my passion and for what I wanted to do, it just was so much aligned with what I truly wanted, that the more I looked at the brochure and then I looked at my website and I looked at my content, I really took some time to reflect and told myself, this is what I want my website and my content to feel like. These are the kinds of topics and things that I want to put out there so other Latina women can know that I'm directly speaking to them. Something that continues to be missed are specific niches, right? Those little pockets and branches. And I say little, but within those little pockets, there's so much. There's so many people who want something curated for them and something that they can resonate with. So I gradually began to make changes to my website, and this is around the 4th month. And then I started creating more content on Instagram directly geared toward Latinas. I started changing my wording because, again, that is who I specifically wanted to work with. And even though those were the clients that I was getting, I wasn't getting them in larger volumes, because even as I was reading my website, it still left a question mark, like, oh, any woman, right? Any woman can work with me, which is not a bad thing. But for what I was trying to do, I needed to be more intentional and direct and specific. Okay, so this right here is the brochure that I ended up making. This is the back portion, and I designed all of this on Canva and then had it printed through Vistaprint. And then when you open it, this right here is what it looks like. So when I designed this, I wanted a blend of something that felt neutral and cozy and warm, and then also just colorful, because when I think of warmth and my culture, I feel like there's a blending between these two things. And so when I did sat down and I was creating this, I remember being rushed. So I didn't even have time to overanalyze things. I was just pouring out what felt natural to me and for what I was intending to do. And when I found myself done with this, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly what I want, you know, my content to reflect. I added some affirmations here in Spanglish. Like, I added some Spanish words in there. Like, I have the ability to create cosas buenas y bonitas in my day today. Me and my time valen oro, so I will use it in ways that bring me paz. And there's a portion that says our story here on the flyer, and it says, born and raised in the Rio Grande Valley, I wanted to become a mental health therapist to create safe spaces for other Latina women to be themselves and be understood when it comes to their mental health. Co's Mental Health Services was founded on the principle that we deserve healing too. Nosotros merecemos sanar también, and with the mission to help contribute to ending the mental health stigma in our communities. Going to therapy is not only a last resort or for crisis moments, it can also be a place for self-exploration and healing by carefully processing past hurts and learning to love and accept yourself. I also add what I can support my clients with and a lot more details, but even as I'm reading them, I'm like, yes, this feels true to me. This feels exactly true to what I want to do. But sometimes that voice kicks in that, you know, tells you this isn't what you fully learned in grad school to do. You know, you were taught to service anyone and everyone, which is completely fine if that's what another therapist wants to do. But I personally have loved having these conversations with my supervisor in session about the freedom that comes with having my own private practice and being able to do things that align with my counseling intuition and with who I am and who I specifically want to service. And it's okay for us to do that. I ended up picking up on making TikToks again, and I made a TikTok that ended up going viral. And basically what it was me using the sound of one of Selena Quintanilla's songs. I love her music, of course. I ended up using that sound, and I was directly letting others know and asking in the video, you know, if you're looking for a Latina therapist, hey, I'm here. I would love to work with you. I was very much clear about my intentions. And so when I created that TikTok, I thought, you know, if I was the one wanting to be reached, what would I want a therapist to say? What would I want it to feel like? What would I want to be said to me? And so that's what I did. I had fun with it. And so for the past 5 months of my practice, I had Psychology Today, and I noticed that I did not get a single client from Psychology Today. I would have people inquiring to work with me, but because Psychology Today is really only based off of the 3 zip codes that you provide, I have noticed so far, and again, this is just what I've noticed for me, for the past year when I worked for someone else, Psychology Today was doing an amazing job of bringing me therapy clients, but that was in a different city. And in that specific city where I worked in, where I would commute to to do work, there weren't a lot of mental health professionals, you know, covering those areas. Versus in the city where I live, if you look it up, there are a ton of counselors and therapists. So it's definitely a lot more saturated in that sense. And then on top of that, I was being even more specific now and niche down in my listing than I was when I worked for someone else. Because when I worked for someone else, I had a bunch of the options checked off, and I worked with different types of populations ranging from children around 8 to 9 years old and up, all the way into adults, working with adolescents. So there was just a huge broad range. Now on Psychology Today, niching down to only working with women, specializing in working with Latina women, Mexican American, specializing in anxiety, depression, right? I got way more niched and narrowed down. And so when I did that for my practice, I noticed that Psychology Today did not bring me any clients. And I actually found myself doing more work on my end where someone would reach out and say that they were looking for something else, and I would have to refer them to someone else. So from a business end, I know that that was a loss for me. So I made the decision last month to end my subscription with Psychology Today, because I was and currently still am booked with consultation calls through September and through October, and my caseload is at a really good place. And all of those new clients completely have been coming and have come from the TikTok that I made, from that TikTok video that went completely viral. And before that, where my clients were coming from was from Instagram, because I am very much present on there and marketing my services and all of that. So occasionally, back before I got booked, because I don't do this anymore, I used to do at least 1 to 2 posts a week that were geared toward, you know, if you want to book a session with me, here's my information, click the link in my stories. So I would add it into my stories. I would add it into a post just to let people know that I was taking in clients, which is so important, because even if we just have our information in the bio, if we're looking for clients and we're not regularly letting them know, like, hey, I have an opening, I would love to work with you, here's what I can help you with, you know, if we're not promoting that, then it's not very common for people to just randomly want to reach out, or it might take longer for them to do that. So that's something that I've also learned so far. And I don't want this to come across as the answer is to go viral on TikTok. The main point that I want to get across is that the answer for me has been to niche down and really be clear in who I'm talking to in my TikToks, in my Instagram posts, and all my social media content in general. And I personally have chosen to market myself through Instagram and TikTok, and my YouTube is geared toward marketing myself to other LPC associates or therapists in training. So I don't use my YouTube channel to market myself to potential therapy clients. Even though these two things are under Co's Mental Health Services, under my business, they are still separate. And what I mean by that is that they're even separate in the platforms that I use. So for my therapy clients, I use my EHR program called Simple Practice, and the link to that is always down in my description box. If any of you ever want to use that, if you use my link down there, you're able to get a discount for yourself, and then I also end up getting a discount. And the only reason why I even have that link on there is because I had tried other platforms when I used to work for someone else, and Simple Practice is elite. You guys, honestly, it is my favorite. I'm not just saying that. They're not sponsoring this video or anything like that, but because I do use them, I get a little referral code and link. So that's always down in the description box if you ever want to check that out or use that. So if you're thinking about launching your private practice and you're thinking, you know, how am I going to get clients one day, you do have the option to go through a directory. So for example, you have Psychology Today. So I would definitely recommend that as a first starting point, to sign up with some directories. So you're on there, you come out on search engines when people search for therapists near me on Google. I also definitely suggest starting a Google My Business account. That one is also huge. I did that for my business when I first launched. And there are definitely other directories out there also, like latinxtherapist.com or also inclusivetherapist.com. And my personal biggest one, because this is how I have chosen to market my practice, is social media, specifically in the sense of Instagram and TikTok, because those are the platforms that I enjoy using, and there's other platforms out there. So I would definitely suggest going with the platforms that you're most interested in, that you feel comfortable with, and start with one at a time and go from there. So this leads into the next topic, which is making passive income as a therapist when you own your own private practice. And you guys, you know what I wish we would talk about more in our mental health community as professionals is these different avenues that we have toward making income. Something that I don't hear others talk about enough is, you know, what about therapists who have their degree and want to be writers, want to write books? Because as you have seen my journey into, you know, diversifying my bookshelf, it is so needed. And I'm actually really excited that the Jasmine Cepeda, the author of one of my favorite books, ended up reaching out to me and letting me know that a friend of hers sent her the TikTok that I made of her book. This is the book right here. This book is everything. I love it so much. And I ended up reviewing it on TikTok, and she reached out to me to send me her other books, and I died. Like, I was geeking out, I was fangirling, and she seemed like the nicest person ever. I could not believe it. And me and my supervisor talked about, you know, the power of social media in that way, where in what world would I have ever made that connection? You know, I live in Texas, this author lives in the Bronx. Like, when, you know, when would that have really happened? And so I share this to let you know, stay open-minded, and whatever that looks for you, you know, keep an open mind and explore different opportunities, you know. So at least for me, I try to look at things with curiosity and keeping an open mind, right? And trying things and seeing how it goes. And if you're wondering, no, I have not always been that way. I struggled so hard with imposter syndrome, and I have past videos on all of that, you know, with feelings of self-doubt, always questioning my decisions. And I worked through that, you know, I worked through a lot of that, and that doesn't mean that that voice isn't there sometimes, but I am able to recognize it now, be aware of it. So when it comes to passive income, there's so many different opportunities. I know one day I want to write a book, so that's something that I have in the back of my mind. You know, another way that I make passive income is through YouTube. Now that I am monetized, you know, I'm not posting a ton of videos. If I did that, my income would probably increase with that. But when I've sat down and looked at all of the income that I made, I have set priorities for myself. And for example, if you don't have a lot of money or the amount of money that you need in order to invest into creating these passive forms of income, that has definitely been my journey. I have not spent as much as I could have on my practice or on my YouTube channel. I definitely could have gone more out there, and even so with that, I'm here. You know, I'm definitely making more than I used to as an LPC-associate when I worked for someone else, and my pay was just so sad. So if you find yourself in grad school right now or in school thinking about some of these things and wondering, you know, can I do other things with my degree? Yes, you definitely can. And I want to encourage you to explore some of those things, because there are other therapists who even have a side business where they sell certain products. So like apparel or stickers. And maybe for some of you, you decide, I'm graduating and I'm getting my license, or I'm not getting my license and I want to do workshops instead. So you launch a website. Thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. If you're in a place where you're thinking about wanting to lean more into having a side business or having a different type of business with your degree that allows you to use more of your creativity, and that's something that you're looking for, I want to highly encourage you to go after it, to not give up on that dream, and to build it little by little. None of the things that you see here that I share with you happened from one day to another. They happened over the course of weeks, months, years. Like, I used to plan doing things like this back before I was even in grad school, you know? So it's definitely okay to follow your own pacing and timing for these things, but I want to encourage you all so much and congratulate those of you who are graduating, who are starting grad school, those of you who are taking the NCE, taking your licensure exams, or even trying again because maybe the first, second, or third time it just didn't happen and you've learned so much since then and have the tools that you need now. I just want to say how proud I am of you and how grateful I am to have this community on here and to be able to share all of this with you all. Again, if you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I would love to talk to you all. Take care, everyone, and I will go ahead and see you in my next video. Bye.
Maybe I'm overreacting to this whole thing, being too dramatic, overthinking, getting myself worked up over nothing. But baby, you said